Hey everybody, welcome to Lesson 4 of Elite Dangerous Flight Operations. We are still in our standard Sidewinder, having made just a little bit of money from a delivery mission, but what we're actually going to do this time is get ourselves into trouble. We're going to get ourselves interdicted so you can know what to do once you've been interdicted and have to deal with an actual fight to defend yourself. I highly recommend you go through all the tutorials that are offered by Elite Dangerous to make sure you have some combat skill. And we're going to take a nice close look at our fire group information here. I only have the loaned pulse lasers, so I'm going to keep them bound to the one, my primary trigger, which is this one. And we'll be making use of those soon enough. So the first thing we're going to do is get ourselves out into space and get ourselves interdicted, hopefully by something that's not terribly nasty. Well, maybe we'll cover two lessons today. One is escaping an interdiction, escaping if you've been successfully interdicted, and turning to fight if you think you got the guns for it. Okay, it is very important you understand how your power distributor works in a fight. Once again, I talked about that in Lesson 3. We are going to be putting it to use like crazy today. First thing we need to do once again is bring up our landing gear, get ourselves outside of mass lock from the station, and we'll just jump into Supercruise. Okay, here we go into Supercruise.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Okay, while we're supercruising around looking for a bit of trouble, it is important to touch on local laws, especially in the Federation. If you are the first to fire on someone who you are not positive is wanted, you will have a bounty on your head and become wanted yourself, and you'll have bounty hunters and local law enforcement and all sorts of problems docking with stations and things like that. So it is extremely important that you scan your target and make sure that they are wanted before you begin fighting back. It takes a little bit of time and it's a pain in the ass, I know, but that's just what you gotta do to make sure that you're avoiding getting a bounty yourself. Okay, I'm going to show you what happens when they successfully interdict you. If you don't do a particularly good job of following this blue vector, eventually that red line will build up. And your blue line goes down. And you get pulled out of hyperspace. So you really want to be aiming at that escape vector as much as you can. I'm not aiming at it on purpose. And what's going to happen is my frameshift driver is going to fail. Bingo, just like that. Interdicted FSD failure. Very first thing to do, if you actually want to just run away, full power to engines, hit boost, and as soon... Oh boy, this guy's rough. Okay, I gotta do something about this guy. Okay. Well, I was going to run away, but he is a Viper, and he's murdering me. Cooldown in progress. So basically, you need to get yourself out of range of the enemy. Let your frameshift charge up. And as you can see, you can get into hyperspace pretty darn quickly. And that leaves him in the dust. Now head back to the station and get some repairs. Okay, here's an interdiction I really want to get away from. Once again, what I'm trying to do is just keep myself pointed at full throttle towards the escape vector. Doing the best I can to keep myself using yaw, pitch, and roll all in conjunction to keep myself pointed at it. The longer I'm pointed at it, the better my chances of escaping this interdiction. As my blue bar fills up, I have successfully escaped interdiction and am now free and clear and on my way. Okay, so we have a Sidewinder trying to pull us over. Chances are he's a criminal, so we'll go ahead and let ourselves fall out of Supercruise. If you're wanting to get into a fight, the very first thing you do is deploy your hardpoints. No messing around. Now remember those laws. You gotta make sure and scan him long enough, take a look at the left section to get him to be wanted. Alright, he is wanted, we're ready to engage. On your throttle sector, you notice this blue zone. In the blue zone is where your ship is the most maneuverable. You want to make sure and keep your ship in there as much as possible because then it'll be much easier to maneuver around and target the bad guy. Your pulse laser only has so much charge. You can see that I'm using it up in all of these misses. Once that energy is run out, they won't fire anymore. So we got to make sure that we have some power into the weapons system. I'm personally keeping myself full tilt on engines to have maximum maneuverability, which does mean my weapons charge up slower, and right now any hits to my shields will not recharge at all. You want to make sure you maintain his 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and open fire on him. There, we've pinged him for some. Keep myself in the blue maneuverable zone. The closer you are, the easier he is to hit. Now, this is very important. As he's pitching around, you can use your WASD keys, that's what I have bound, to slip around and make yourself more difficult to hit and also sort of fly sideways and do space acrobatics, essentially. So we are now flying sideways, parallel with him, and can open fire. Make sure you use all these keys to roll around. I'm going to let him get a beat on me so you can see what you can do to dodge. I'll put all my systems into shields. Okay. Position yourself like this, basically cattywampus to him and slide either down or up. It is much harder for a ship to yaw than it is to pitch. That's a very important tactical thing to consider. Yawing, take a look at my ship. I only yaw this fast, but I can pitch this fast. That's the same for every ship in the verse. We're going to use some boost. I'm going to put more engines back in, more power back in engines to keep myself engines charging up more. So you can see your power distributor, it's really important that you use it dynamically. Put some energy in shields for this flyby. Slip under him like so. Back into shields and weapons. Turbo boost. He's about 1.5 clicks away. I'm pushing up to tighten my turn, as well as pitching. And he's at 22% hull. 16% now. 9%. He's firing on me, so I'll put some money into shields and weapons. He's probably slipping backwards. There you have it. A successful engagement with another Sidewinder. Now, we've destroyed a ship that had a bounty on it. We've got something sitting over in here in transactions. So, we have a 959 credit bounty we can go pick up at Aerovit Free, any of the Aerovit Free stations. So, I'm going to find the closest one and engage my Supercruise.
Charging. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Let's take a look at Ackerman Market. We've got full power into engines. Ackerman Market is a rather short orbit station, but it's got a 1G ring outside. You know how I can tell that this ring is a 1G ring? Because it's extremely large and it only has 2 support struts. So once again, based on the rotation of the station, there is 1G of apparent gravity on the inside of that rotating ring. You can actually probably see some of the farmland and stuff down there. So it's a very Earth-like environment. As I'm entering the toaster rack, I'm going to put all my points into shields just in case I have a collision. Using the WASD keys, as I have a custom bound set up for myself to control my up, down, left, and right slip to get myself lined up and fly on in.
Scan detected.
I'm being scanned for warrants and stuff like that. This is why you don't want to have a warrant. If any ship scans you while you're pulling into a station with a warrant, the system authority vehicles and the system and the station itself, the starport itself, will open fire and destroy you. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you scan your target first and make sure that they are wanted before you engage them. Okay, we're going to fly to pad 19. Alright, let's go ahead and get ourselves refueled. Head over to the bulletin board. Oops, not that one. We're turning in a bounty, which is under contacts. Local security office. Bounty vouchers for 595 credits. Confirm. So that is going to be it for this lesson, which covered dealing with interdictions, how to escape them, how to safely accept one so you don't get so your hull doesn't take any damage. What happens if you don't safely? What happens if you're successfully pulled out of interdiction and you can see that your hull takes a little bit of damage, and how to escape if that's the case. We successfully escaped from a Viper, which was tearing us apart really quickly. And lastly, how to give a fight back on some basic combat maneuvering in space against a Sidewinder, which was no match for us and our piloting skills. That is going to be it for this lesson. So until next time, I will say keep flying and stay shiny.